June 2018, Tom Luang Cave, Thailand. It was a clear day, so the group of students agreed to go on an adventure and they went to the cave. They also accompanied their coach on their adventure. When they entered the cave, they happily walked inside. When they had walked a few miles to the cave, they heard a rush of water coming in, because they did not know that it was raining hard outside, and that rain was so strong and unceasing, that the water rose quickly. To the nervousness of the coach, he shouted, "Let's run or we might drown. What will happen to them? Can they still come out alive? Or will they drown?" That's what we'll find out only here in World Viral Stories. We will learn about the rescue of a soccer team in Thailand that happened in 2018. Before we start, subscribe to our channel first. June 22, Friday. One day they agreed to go to the cave because it was a team member's birthday tomorrow, so they planned that tomorrow they would go to the cave, and they agreed not to tell their parents, because there was a big possibility that they will not be allowed to go to the cave. Tom Luang Cave, known as the Great Cave of the Sleeping Lady, is a very long cave. If you walk in from the entrance of the cave to the inside, you will walk a few miles before you reach the other end. It is located in Mae Sai on the Thailand border of Myanmar and Laos, known as the Golden Triangle. June 23, Saturday. This is the day they agreed to go to the cave. Pirpat Sompianjay's father woke up early, or nicknamed Night. He greeted her and told her to go home early after their football practice because they would prepare for his birthday later. He thanked his father and just nodded. But inside him, they will be late to go home because they will go to the cave later, while they eat after their practice. Knight mentioned to their coach that they wanted to take a walk in the cave for at least an hour. He begged his coach to give it to him. It was his birthday. The coach didn't want to agree at first because he heard on the news that it was going to rain, but because of Knight's insistence, their coach agreed. They excitedly biked to the cave, and when they got there, they put their bags and bikes at the entrance of the cave. They were very happy walking towards the cave. What they don't know, it's the most they'll never forget in their entire lives. Meanwhile, while Knight's family was busy preparing for his birthday, heavy rain suddenly fell. The children were unaware of the tragedy that was about to happen to them. They were enjoying themselves inside the cave, but just a few minutes later, their happiness was replaced by fear. They heard something rushing toward them. When their coach could see the big water coming towards them, the coach shouted that they go to the high part of the cave. Hurry up! To everyone's nerves, no one turned, and they poured their energy into running. They saw the high part of the cave, and they jumped together and held on to its rocks. They cried out of fear because they saw that the water inside the cave was more than a person. This part of the cave is part of Pattaya Beach. It is 4 miles deep from the entrance of the cave. Imagine the distance they walked. And this is the lowest part of the cave, so when it rains heavily, the water from the mountains will go here because the ground is deeper here. In short, this part is called the touch basin. Meanwhile, Knight's parents are worried because they are not there yet. But their guests calmed them down that maybe the children were just making it rain. But some time has passed, and they wonder why the children are still not there. So Knight's father called Nick's parents, who are also friends of their son. Nick's father also said that their son hasn't come home yet. This is where they got nervous. In their mind, something bad happened to them. It was here that the children's parents came out to look for them. Someone was able to tell them that they heard this morning when talking to the children that they were going to Tom Luang Cave, where they were even more nervous because their villages know very well that when it rains, the water is very deep under the cave. They immediately went to Tom Luang Cave, where they found their bikes in front of the cave. Their parents immediately entered the cave because they found the water so deep that they retreated and returned to the entrance. They just waited for the water to go down. "Don't worry because the water is low," said a parent. But an hour has passed, and the water still hasn't receded. This is where their parents spent the night. June 24, Sunday. The mission chief and governor of the province did not waste time. they got many pumps to remove the water inside the cave. They put a blue nylon pipe in the flooded part. The generators started to operate to remove the water inside. They remove about 1.2 million liters per hour. That same morning, the Thailand Navy and divers were called to conduct rescue operations. But due to the strong current of the water, the driving masks of the divers are removed and damaged, so they have a lot of difficulties. They must do something to reduce the water current. Meanwhile, inside the cave, the children have run out of water. "I'm thirsty," said a child. "You can't drink the water there because it's dirty and muddy," said the coach. "The one that helps water to the stalactites, you touch it and that's what you drink. That's safer for you to drink," said the coach. The children's last meal was before they entered the cave. Their stomachs are rumbling with hunger. "I still have food left here. How can you, Coach EK, if you give it to me?" said a child. He gave the little food he had left to the children and left no more for himself. Because Coach EK is a monk, he is used to fasting. He taught the children how to do breathing exercises. The breathing technique will help to not consume energy and they will not get hungry quickly. June 25, Monday. News of children being trapped inside the cave has spread throughout Thailand, and it quickly spread around the world. Also because of social media, about 500 journalists went there. Even the US Air Force sent a survival specialist to help, and French, British and Australian divers also came. The Buddhist monks began to pray nightly with the children's parents. The parents did not come out of the cave until they saw their children, where they slept on plastic chairs. The albolarios from the nearby towns came here, to pray and sacrifice animals. Local massage schools sent students to give free massages to tired parents and soldiers. Meanwhile, inside the cave, the children's food has run out but they continue to hope. "Let's just wait, your parents will surely find us. We can live for a month even if we don't have food, but we can't live without water. We are lucky because we have water." Coach EK said, "Let's meditate and pray." June 26 to July 1. Geologists used electrical sensitivity techniques and experts interpreted the results by building 3D maps to locate the holes. They discovered that even though they pumped millions of gallons of water out of the cave, the water inside still did not run out. Because the water in the stream also flows into the cave, adding to its water level, everyone was determined to save the children. So when they found out, they built a dam near the fields so that the water would go there that comes from streams. But even if they did that, they still had difficulty in their search and rescue operations. Because the map they were holding was not detailed, but they were lucky because the French had a map hidden in 1927. They were immediately given this detailed map. Here they saw how long the cave was. Their fatigue and perseverance were replaced by hope because the water went down. This is where the divers started diving, until they saw traces of children's feet. "I'm sure it's the children's footprints," said a diver. "That means they passed through here, so we should go straight to the deeper part of the cave," the divers said. They arrived at a junction where one turned right and the other turned left. "There is only one that we can go to, that is the high part of the cave." Meanwhile, Coach EK continues to tell the children how to maintain their strength and not weaken completely. At the top of the cave, the rescuers started climbing the side of the mountain to look for a cave tunnel, but they found no tunnel or entrance, except for the cave's only entrance. July 2, Monday. Late Monday night, two divers, Rich Tanton and John Boltina, were at the end of the line of the cave. They thought of turning the rope to go back to the entrance of the cave where they came from. While they were going back, a diver, Jason, took a deep breath as he usually does. He suddenly told his companion that he could smell a person. Even though he had not seen them yet, he knew that the children were close, so he swam a little until they saw children. Jason yelled and said they were here. Their location is 4 miles deep into the entrance. They were sitting on the high and rocky part of the cave. "How many of you are there?" asked diver Jason. "There are 13 of us," the boy named Abdul answered, "who can understand and speak English." This is where Jason opened his bag, and he took out the liquid nutrients. Finally, after a few days, the children were able to eat their first meal. They were given a high-protein drink, high-calorie gelatine, painkillers, antibiotics, and emergency blankets. July 3rd, Tuesday. This morning everyone learned the good news for the children. And so that they can inform their families that they are in good condition, they thought of writing them. They asked the divers to hand them over to their parents. Here are the contents of their letters. Don't worry, I was only gone for 2 weeks. I love you, Mom and Dad, we are safe here. I can handle myself. Mom, I want to buy a barbecue when we go out. Coach EK apologized to the children's parents. And this is the content of his letter. To all parents of children, please forgive me, because I put the children in danger. I promise that I will keep them here inside the cave because the divers will not be able to get the children out immediately. After all, the water is still deep. They need diving equipment and materials, and the caves they will pass through are very crowded. So they have to plan how they can get the children out. Then they are still 4 miles away from the entrance. Imagine that's a long way.